Morning. Welcome to our live feed update for July 17th. I'm your host, Taran Armstrong, and with me today is Jenny. How you doing, Jenny?
I'm great, Taran. How are you this morning?
I'm good. Here to talk about the Big Brother 20 live feeds and everything that happened on them. Lots to talk about today. Very excited.
Yeah, I was just saying that halfway through yesterday, didn't think it was quite as crazy as Monday, but, it picked up near the end of the day. There's definitely some pivotal conversations that took place, so I'm excited to talk about it.
Yeah, Kaitlyn just continues to be the driver of action on this season.
What will we do when she goes, Taran?
Yeah,
What a gift.
for no strategic purpose,
No.
just for the hell of it. So yeah, that's we'll start the day off with Kaitlyn, who is disgusted by Tyler's behavior last night when he didn't comfort her after the argument that we talked about yesterday. She is disgusted by Tyler.
Yes, she just felt that she was so vulnerable and she was, if he truly cared about her and she was his number one, that he should have come to her, and instead that, he just basically took off and went to bed. But Fessy did comfort her. And she's going to use this in this conversation that she has with Tyler in a little bit, that, she really thought that he was going to be there for her, but Fessy was there, and I am just so appreciative of him. And she seems to just do this like emotional jealousy type thing where she's just, to her, it really seems more about emotions and the relationship, but that's an alarm for Tyler, who is trying to keep control of her.
Yeah, it's Tyler really did not realize what he was getting into.
No.
I don't think anybody realized what we were getting into with Kaitlyn. And so, yeah, she's talking to Bayleigh, Haleigh, and Rockstar. She's disgusted by Tyler. And it's in this moment that she's like, you know what? I want to tell Scottie about why I flipped my vote. This is 100% like vindictive toward Tyler. I have to imagine this is like she wants to tell Scottie about the power. She knows that Tyler doesn't want her to do this. She's going to tell Tyler she wants to do this, and he's going to be, please don't do that. But she's mad at Tyler, and she needs to get back at him.
Yes, it was, everything about this screamed like, I've got something on you, and you have all the power in this relationship. And this whole narrative that Kaitlyn has been running with is that, she's not going to be pushed around. She's a little girl and she's going to stand up for herself, and, she's going to speak her truth and stand in her truth. And she knows that she has a piece of information that is protecting Tyler and, to a degree, her, but she doesn't care. She doesn't care if this blows up her game, because she is upset at him. And you're absolutely right. In this conversation where she's talking with Haleigh and Rockstar, she's upset at Tyler, and in the same breath as now she's suddenly deciding that this is the time that she needs to tell Scottie about the flip. It's I don't think this is a coincidence at all. She's hurt, and she's using what she can to leverage. I don't know how this is supposed to help her with Tyler, but she's just upset.
Yeah, and the thing is, too, the thing you have to understand about Kaitlyn is that she absolutely would just lay down and do whatever Tyler wants her to do if he did what she wanted him to do to her, if you catch my meaning.
I have no idea what you're referring to, Taran.
But the problem is that she is not getting the kind of attention that she wants from Tyler. And so she is using every manipulative thing she has in her bag of tricks to try and force him into being more affectionate. And it really is reminiscent. I feel like there haven't been many cases of this in Big Brother, of like Dr. Will not closing the deal with Janelle, and that kind of being his demise. Sometimes you just got to do what you got to do, Tyler, whether or not she has a boyfriend at home. And I just feel like you bit into the wrong apple here.
I'm really just feeling now that like Kaitlyn winning HOH last week was the worst thing that could have happened to Tyler's game now, because at the time it was good for him because he had just made this relationship with her, convinced her to flip. And so we're like, okay, great. It's basically like having a second HOH. He's got control over her. But if someone else from one of these other two, like either of the sides had gotten HOH, I think he could have gotten through it, and some bigger target would have gotten taken out. Like I really think that he used so much capital with Kaitlyn in that HOH week to get out Swaggy, which I guess is important for his game, but in turn had wrapped himself into this like deeply like emotional and like borderline psychotic like relationship with her. And now he's spending so much of his game just doing this damage control. Not so much, that he is worried about what she's doing in the game, but like because she's so like enamored with him, she's using the game stuff that she has about him to like manipulate him just for attention and care. Like it is really, all of the things that make her upset are never about game things, like saying I lied about anything. It's about like, it's all very like deeply like hurt, like you weren't there for me, or someone else is more special to you than me. Like that's what it is for her. And so he's got a lot to keep up on now. And I think that it's really hurting his ability to, work with everyone else. So he needs her out fast because she's taking all of his energy.
Yeah.
His energy, his aura is being stolen.
I completely agree. It's like he saw a weakness in the other side. He exploited the weakness, and then that weakness turned out to be like one of those Venus flytraps or something. And now he's trapped there. And I think he legitimately is like mentally like, we often see players who are playing the kind of game that Tyler is. They play it for most of the season. By the end of the season, they are mentally exhausted, having to be on top of everything. I think Tyler has already reached that point. He has had a season of misery just trying to deal with Kaitlyn, and I really do feel like even though she is a key cog in his ability to play the house, she is definitely a liability at this point, and is worse for his game for being there than otherwise. And even though he has like 4 people directly coming after him, I almost feel like getting rid of Kaitlyn is worth the risk, like just ASAP for him, because she is just too much, or I guess just like completely cutting ties at this point, because she serves no purpose for him anymore.
Well, and I think that as long as he's tied to her, it's going to affect other people wanting to trust him and work with him. Like it's a sinking ship that he can't be tied to. And while there are other people that are more directly going after him, like I just really think that he needs to hope that, one, he's got a power in his pocket, and 2, he needs to hope that these other people that he's allied with on, both sides are going to go after each other and maybe not him. And he needs to get this like leaky faucet. I don't even know what kind of analogy I'm going for, but she's just causing all sorts of trouble for him and all sorts of drama. And it is affecting his game now. And it falls apart almost as the day goes on.
Yeah, it's like the conversation they have when she is mad at him about not consoling her, not comforting her, is like, like your dead dad came to me in a dream and told me not to trust you. I can't believe the disgusting behavior that you displayed, letting that happen. And Fessy came, and I love Fessy for that. I'm gonna go and tell Scottie about why I flipped the vote. And Tyler's like, please don't do that. She's gone full like Fatal Attraction. Like Tyler says later on, like she's gonna hate me after this, after we get out of this house. And I think she already kind of does in her own twisted, like perverted way.
And she's still like, she's mad at him, and she's she's frustrated, but she still very much wants to be okay with him, and as soon, and the conversation that she has with him, like Tyler does his own little like kind of crazy like manipulative kind of thing where he turns it around being like, because she's like, I thought that we had this close connection, and you know, if we had something special that was more than this, then you would have come to me and you would have comforted me. And then he's like, you question me every day, like, how do you think that makes me feel? And he does like a pretty, like, I don't know, I almost had like this like flashback to like manipulative boyfriend guy that is like, what? Like she takes like the complaint that she has about him, and it's just like, but you're the one that doesn't trust me, and every time I do something, you're trying to find reasons to not trust me, and all I was trying to do was think about ways to get you out of this. Like he uses this excuse that why he didn't go to her is because he's like, okay, how do I figure out how to fix this, because this was bad for Kaitlyn. So he does a really like good job of trying to take it back to caring about her and trying to protect her. Whether that, I mean, it seems to work. Ultimately, she still does, talk to Scottie, but he really does do a good job of kind of like gaslighting her and being like, but you don't even trust me, and you think this and you think that, and all I wanted to do was protect you.
Well, I like everything he's saying makes sense. Like she is a crazy person. So it's like if he did genuinely care for her, this probably would be what he would say. The problem, the difference is that he doesn't, and he's just doing anything he can to prevent her from like blowing the rest of his game up, but also trying to not have to like get down and dirty with her. This is I didn't see this as like like good manipulation. I saw this as like a desperate man doing anything he can to survive.
Oh, and I totally get it, and I agree with it. But there was something about I've been, I said this last week. There's just something about like the calmness, but like this calm intensity he has when he talks to people that it's just like, I don't know. There's just something about that conversation when he like, when he's speaking quietly, and she's like in her like half crying voice, and he's just like, he did a really good job of making it seem like he genuinely cares about her, and that he's not just like panicking and thinking like, how do I fix this? How do I fix this?
Yeah.
He's got, as much as she's a handful, he does an incredible job with her. Given what he has to work with.
We've been talking for a week now about how he has the patience of a saint, and like he's still keeping it up. I do think it's gotten to the point where he is mentally exhausted, but he's still keeping it. I think everyone knows I would be like running for the hills. I would never be able to deal with this person. If somebody did anything close to that, like I'd be like, I'm out, I'm done. That's I'm sorry.
Self-evict, where's the button?
I just would not. I would not have the patience to be like, well, okay, but listen, I do care about you. I'd just be like, oh my god, please get away from me.
It is impressive, yeah.
Yes. So, Kate. So after he talks to her about all this stuff, she is eventually gonna come back. Okay, I understand it because she understands, because the logic is sound. Like, again, if they did care for each other, obviously he doesn't need to show her affection every day in order to reinforce that whatever. Kaitlyn's just a lunatic. So she accepts the logic, but she doesn't accept the logic emotionally. She's still mad at Tyler because all she cares about is the affection. She doesn't care about logic. She's just looking for the next way to be mad at him, so that she can get more affection. But for now she's been calmed, and she talks to Tyler about how a psychic told her that she'd have another option, if you can read into that, whose name would start with T, have blonde hair and blue eyes, and at this point Tyler's like, oh, I have green eyes, and would be,
sorry, that's scientific fact.
Yes, and would be scrawny, and he's like, I'm not scrawny, come on, I'm not scrawny.
I was on TKO, have you not heard?
Yeah.
They wouldn't put a scrawny guy on that.
So yeah, that's
He's
Tyler
in
and Kaitlyn.
danger. It's bad.
So Kaitlyn and Scottie had to have their conversation. Kaitlyn tells Scottie, "Okay, look, I can't believe I'm doing this, but I'm gonna tell you this. Steve was my dad." And Scottie's like, "What? Steve was your father? What? No. He was like my dad." This legitimately happened. Who starts the conversation that way?
Kaitlyn does. This whole conversation was one of the most theatric, like over the top things I've ever seen. Like she's building intensity there that does not even need to exist. Like she's just like holding her hands up and she's being like, "This is so crazy. I can't believe I'm going to tell you this. Okay, you're going to freak out. Oh my God. Steve is my dad."
Yeah.
Like, what?
And I'm pretty sure she used present tense, not like Steve was like my dad, but like Steve is my dad.
Yeah, it was not like it was not a comparison. I can't remember the exact wording, but it was like I don't know if she called him dad or papa or something like that, but like she was saying that like that is what he is.
Like he is actually, I think she said he is actually my dad.
My dad.
Like, oh, my God.
And like when she's building up this to Scottie that this is insane and oh my God, like I can't believe I'm about to tell you this. Like when that's the first thing she says, of course Scottie's gonna be like, "What? He is?" It was beautiful.
Yeah. No. Doom in the chat just really scared me. Scrawny blonde hair, blue eyes, first name starts with a T. Oh my God, it's Taran.
Yeah, those eyes look blue to me.
If you listen to the Taran show with my trainer, you know I've been cutting. But I plan on bulking up soon, so I need to do that fast before she gets out of the house, or I'm in trouble.
And just get the muscle milk out.
I'm calling my trainer right now. Screw. I know we were gonna do another 5 weeks. Screw that. I need to start eating like 5,000 calories a day right now.
And you better hope that she's safe for another couple weeks. You need that time.
Oh Jesus! Make sure she gets to jury.
Suddenly, you're gonna buy Kaitlyn stock, more Kaitlyn stock. You need to go all in on this to protect yourself.
Oh man. Okay, so she explains eventually after the father stuff about I flipped my vote because Sam had a power and it would screw over the people that voted Sam out. She's still under this misconception that the people that voted for Sam would be in trouble. So she tells Scottie about all of this stuff, and she leaves Tyler's name out of it, which, like, ends up being so much worse for Tyler that she did that, because she's told this story a billion times already and put Tyler's name in it. So she's like, "Oh, but I'll leave Tyler's name out of the Scottie one." Like, as if that would do anything, and it just like immediately makes this so much worse. And
who, if so many people know about this at this point, which she's aware of because she's responsible for telling all of these people, what is she thinking? Like, that Scottie's the HOH right now. Do you not think people are talking to him? Like, do you not think that there's going to be notes compared? And what does that solve? Like, mind you, Scottie doesn't ask about how this came about. He really just is like, "Whoa, wild. Yeah, I kind of had a feeling." And she, Kaitlyn monopolizes any conversation she's part of anyway. But I don't know what her thought was there, that she's still going to go ahead and tell Scottie about this whole thing, but somehow she's protecting Tyler just by not saying his name. Like, anyone can infer at this point that this is where it came from. He was the HOH at the time. They spent every second together the following week. Like,
And this is like, this wasn't calculated. Like, I think this is the result of the combination of, I'm pissed at Tyler, but I can't be pissed at Tyler, so I'm going to do the thing that's going to make him mad, but I'm also going to protect him at the same time. And it ends up being the worst of all scenarios. This is not going to work out well for him, because after this conversation, Scottie goes to Tyler, and Scottie says, "Hey, Tyler, Kaitlyn just told me about Sam's power. Isn't this crazy?" And Tyler's like, "That is crazy. Wow. That's interesting. I didn't know." And this is going to prove to be the undoing of Tyler when it comes to how Scottie sees him.
Yes, the alarm goes off, and he's starting to see the light that, you know, Tyler knows a lot of things and is giving the impression that he does not know these things, and that he's being protected by people. And it's going to escalate as the day goes on, and as, you know, conversations. I won't skip ahead, but he's going to have a really long conversation with Rockstar later that night, and they're going to share some stories. And Scottie is definitely on to Tyler's game now, and I don't know what that means for him. I don't know, but this was I mean, I'm sure that there could have been rumblings before this, but Kaitlyn going in and telling the story, and then you know, him having this conversation with Tyler afterwards is the starting of this day of Tyler's game kind of plummeting in terms of his relationship with Scottie.
Yes. So Scottie does not end up using the veto, which we all already knew was going to happen. Winston basically throughout the day is going to be talking to his alliance, like, "Hey, do we have the votes? Like, what's going on with the votes?" And his alliance is going to be like, "Yeah, not sure about that.
We'll figure it out." Like,
I mean, Brett got in that argument yesterday, so that's a thing.
You just lay low, Winston. You just kind of be quiet, and I'm sure that everything will work itself out. Like, yeah, no.
Yeah.
We don't want to keep you. We're just not telling you.
Yes, that is the state of Winston's game at the moment. Scottie is then going to have a conversation with Bayleigh about Sam's power. And this is when Bayleigh says, "Oh, yeah. Kaitlyn and Tyler were the only ones that knew about it." And Scottie goes, "Tyler? That's interesting, because I told Tyler and he acted surprised." And Bayleigh was like, "Oh, well, I mean, take what you will from that." I mean, you know, it may have just been that he didn't feel like it was his place to tell. Like, Bayleigh actually seems like one of the least anti-Tyler people. In fact, probably the least anti-Tyler person on the other side. But she's willing to throw him under the bus as much as she can. So this is the moment where Scottie realizes, "Oh my God, I was played by Tyler." And over the course of the day, the more he talks to people, the more he's going to start to see that. JC and Tyler are going to have a conversation where they agree they want Brett to win the HOH next week, which is actually, I think, the worst case scenario for them. They think it would be the best case scenario because it would make Brett a big target, and then the power, Tyler obviously knows the power would be forced to be used, and then Brett would probably be a target heading into the next week. However, if Brett wins the HOH and he decides to put up two people from Faute and nobody thinks the power is going to be used to save anybody, then Bayleigh probably will use her power to put up, and if Brett is safe, the only people left to put up, the only big targets to put up with the power is Tyler. But Sam would be there with her power, so like all the powers get used, and it would just be a bunch of craziness. But we'll see what happens.
Will we have advantage get in?
Very possible.
Version next week.
Scottie and Kaycee have a conversation, and as much as this day was about, it's Tyler's relationship with Kaycee could turn out to be his salvation, because as Tyler's game is losing credibility, Kaycee's game is gaining credibility, and she is definitely incentivized to protect him. Scottie is talking to Kaycee about Sam's power. She plays dumb and he believes it. She's talking about like, oh, I'm not really sure. I'm not even really on a side. It's just that the other side didn't really talk to me. Scottie says that he's been trusting a lot of different people less and less. But as that happens, he's been trusting Kaycee more and more. And he kind of hopes that they can work together in the future. So it could be very interesting as we learn more about Scottie's revelations about Tyler. If he decides to tell Kaycee about that could spell Scottie's undoing.
And I like further on Kaycee, just the fact that we're actually just seeing more of her on feeds, I think is speaking, towards her game position improving, because we're now seeing that she's, becoming a part of more important conversations. She's making allies besides or at least making connections or roads with more than just level 6. So I feel like this has been a great week for Kaycee, and I don't know, she's kind of set up well at this point.
Yes, very. She's set up very well. And really the key part of it too is that like with Tyler, he had so many like weak. And by so many, I mean Kaitlyn. But even Sam, like as one of Tyler's people that he picked up, she is also a crazy person. Like, let's not like Sam is also like really weird in this game, and just like refuses to lie, and refuses to give up any secrets except for the secrets that matter in terms of like getting Tyler targeted. Like she is impossible to control too. I can't remember who it was that tweeted it, but like somebody tweeted out like Tyler was like, please give me like a Victoria and a beast mode cowboy, and instead they gave him like Kaitlyn and Sam, who are just like I feel for Tyler.
He's lucky in that he's got Kaycee. It seems like the people that he's most directly connected to are Kaitlyn and Sam and Kaycee. And Kaycee at least seems to have like a logical game mind and is not like a crazy person. But he's got these two different like wild card people that he's trying to like rein in. Like Sam is definitely just a different kind of emotional. Like she's not flying off the handle, but she's not making decisions so much based on game. She's like, she really just cares about how she feels about people and like what they've done towards her, and like she, like you said, she won't lie at all. And like you kind of, if you're telling all your secrets to someone, you need to have some faith that they're gonna lie to protect you, and she does do that to an extent. But he like there's just very little to work with Sam, because she is just playing the strangest game. If you want to call it that.
Yeah, it's two different people in Kaitlyn and Sam that are not playing the game at all. Kaitlyn, who talked about like quitting the previous day. Sam, who's talked about quitting before. They like Kaitlyn cares about getting laid in the house, and Sam cares about like I don't even know, like being zen and being above the game. Like neither.
It's a spiritual journey for them both. They're on very different spiritual journeys and experiences.
So yes, it's definitely lucky that he's got Kaycee here in the game, and it's the fact that she has been like nobody knows about Kaycee's relationship with Tyler. People know that she's close to the women of level 6. They don't know about level 6 itself. That's the only weak point in Kaycee's armor. Otherwise, like her relationship with Tyler, obviously Tyler's never going to out her with that. And people like Kaitlyn and Sam don't know about Kaycee's relationship with Tyler. So she is covered on basically all sides. There's nothing to expose with her. And so as her influence grows, I think that can definitely help Tyler dig himself out of this hole if that's possible. So then Bayleigh and Rockstar have a conversation about Tyler and Kaitlyn. They talk about how he can't win HOH because he's friends with everyone, which, like, people already knew this, but then Scottie's like, oh, but what if he has deals with everyone? Like, okay, yeah, that's what it means to be friends with everyone.
This isn't just friendship. Like, there's deals involved here.
Rockstar, though, being an unintentional bro to Tyler, talks all day about how Tyler needs to be backdoored, which would be music to Tyler's ears if he could hear it, because that's the only way that he can protect himself with his power. But she said he needs to be backdoored because he will win the veto otherwise. Bayleigh's like, yeah, but I want to backdoor Kaitlyn. She's the worst. Wouldn't that be great, though, if I backdoored Kaitlyn? And so they both kind of agree, like, okay, Rockstar, if you win HOH, you backdoor Tyler. If I win HOH, I'm backdooring Kaitlyn.
What a beautiful plan. Everyone, no matter what, someone gets what they want, and there's a backdoor. It's wonderful. Mm-hmm. What Tyler really needs is that if they do try to backdoor Tyler, is that Kaitlyn needs to find out about it. Because that's the best way. That's the best way for Tyler to, get the rumblings that it's going to happen, and so that he knows to use the power. But obviously, if Rockstar has HOH, Tyler's going to be scared. So
yeah, exactly.
If he doesn't go up immediately, it doesn't. But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Bayleigh wins HOH. He's paranoid as well. So, I mean, it would be too bad if he wastes the power when he doesn't need it, but we'll see. Just depends on who gets it.
So Rockstar then has a conversation with Scottie, and they talk about Sam's power. And this is when Scottie is like, it was especially suspicious because Kaitlyn didn't mention Tyler's name. Like, that really, freaks me out. And, he starts thinking, he's like, I wonder if Tyler threw the veto this week so he wouldn't be forced to break the deal he had with the bros that we're assuming he probably has because he wouldn't put them up. And Rockstar's like, that would take some balls to throw the veto when there's like a trip on the line, like there was a prize to win the veto. And Scottie's like, yeah, but he's a recruit. So
loved that, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just recruited him from TKO. That's all.
Yeah, exactly.
They just found him on the CBS lot, and never seen Big Brother before.
So they keep talking, and Scottie is eventually realizing, like, okay, so Tyler had deals with both sides. Then he decided to just screw me and Swaggy over, and now he's keeping this from me. Sam has been playing us all this time. Scottie is pissed at Sam, and Scottie wants Sam and Tyler on the block.
Yes, so they have this long conversation about Sam too, and just trying to figure, like, what is Sam about? There's no way that this is her thing. Like, is she related to Christmas?
Yeah,
is she
she's
stunt casting,
secretly related to Christmas because she had a Christmas shirt.
And what an advantage.
Yeah. Well, related to Christmas. All right, guys, she is dangerous.
This is the second coming of Paul. But yeah, so through this whole conversation, they're on to Tyler. They've shared stories, but they're also, they're not good. They're not good about Sam, what this power means. And, Rockstar says, like, I would feel terrible to put Sam up, like, and Sam and Tyler up together, but it would be interesting to see what happens. And, like, Scottie's just basically like, I'm ready to do it. Like, if we had this conversation a couple of days ago before I had all of this information, then absolutely I'd feel terrible to do this to Sam. But at this point, like, screw it.
Yeah,
and it's interesting because I don't know at what point, I can't remember at what point this is happening, but, like, Sam was talking about not using the power this week because she would never do that to Scottie. So it's like, yeah, she has no clue.
I think Scottie is a bit quick to anger here, because, like, he thinks that Sam is playing him. No, Sam's just a crazy person. You're fine. She loves you, and if you ruin that relationship, then you take away basically, I think, legitimately the one person in the game that actually trusts you, Scottie, because all of Faute doesn't. So he needs to be very careful about how he proceeds here. But he is on to Tyler, but that, I mean, even that could also spell his doom. Essentially, sort of being the sacrificial piece to give Faute the information that they need about Tyler, while he then becomes a target to Tyler because they can just blame it all on him. So Rockstar in this conversation also says, well, we shouldn't put Tyler up right away. We should backdoor him. So again, she's putting in work for him.
Yes, she is. But I mean, without knowing that this power that he has, like, that's absolutely, you know, like, you can't fault Rockstar too much here because obviously they know that Tyler is a comp threat and that he's holding back. Well, he's won competitions, and probably the ones that he hasn't won, he had a good chance and was letting other people have them. They seem pretty aware of that now. So of course backdooring makes sense. But yeah, with the power that Tyler has, this is great news for him, that if he's in trouble, that this is how it's going to go down.
Yes. So then Bayleigh has a conversation with Sam where Bayleigh tells Sam, like, everyone knows you have the power now. And she was like, did people know? And Sam says to Bayleigh, confirms, yes, Kaitlyn and Tyler knew. They were the only people that knew about it. Obviously, it was Kaitlyn that told everyone, but now it's out there. And so they talk about that. And then Sam goes to Tyler and says, like, everyone knows. I know it wasn't you. I know it must have been Kaitlyn. And Tyler's pissed. He's been pissed about it all day because he knew about it after he talked to Scottie. And he is like, okay, well, luckily, they don't know the full details. Kaitlyn said that it was if anyone votes against the person, against Sam, and they also think that it expires this week, which is a key element to this because obviously if Bayleigh knew that Sam's power worked next week or expired next week, she would be a lot more hesitant to use her power and flush that out if that were the case. So the idea that it expires this week is definitely beneficial to Sam and Tyler. So Tyler wants her to tell people that, it expires this week. I'm not using it because I'm not on the block, and that's the way things are going. And he also wants to know, who told you that everybody knows? Like, who is it? Who did this? And she was like, I told them I wouldn't say anything. And Tyler's like, are you kidding me?
But the ridiculous thing about this whole conversation, and he like tries numerous times to be like, okay, but who told you that? Like, who told you that everyone knows? And she tells him at like the beginning of this conversation, well, I was doing hair and blah 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 blah. During that conversation that she was having with Bayleigh, when she was braiding Bayleigh's hair, Tyler goes in and out of the bathroom and like sees them. So he knows that she was in there with Bayleigh. So the beginning of the conversation, she's like, she actually gives away when the conversation happens. But she's like, oh, I'm not going to say, she's not going to say a name. She's not going to say a name because, it doesn't matter. And then finally he's like, you were in the bathroom with Bayleigh doing her hair. And then she's like, yeah. But like, she still doesn't say that Bayleigh's the one that told her, but it's kind of like it seems like her like moral kind of like sidestep to, she basically gave the information, like the setting, and then he just like guessed it. And then she just doesn't deny it. But it was just so obvious from like the moment she started talking about it. Like, he knows, but he's trying to get her to tell him. And
yeah,
I mean, it was so obvious.
It's the same ridiculous like moral sidestepping of like trying to get herself nominated so that she could use the power on herself and didn't have to use it on anybody else. Yeah. It's just it's so weird. She did also tell Bayleigh like what are you talking about? It has nothing to do with people that voted for me. That doesn't affect people like that at all. And Bayleigh was like, oh, so
yeah, give Bayleigh some good information.
Yeah,
there.
so they're now going to think that Kaitlyn was lying, or they're going to find out that Tyler lied to Kaitlyn. We'll see how that turns out. And then Tyler talks to Kaycee. They talk about the events of the day, the fact that everyone knows that Sam has the power now, but they don't know the details. And they talk about how, yeah, it was Bayleigh. Bayleigh definitely was the one that talked to Sam. So they're continuing to be a little bit suspicious of Bayleigh with everything that's going on there. She seems to be very involved in a lot of things. I really feel like they should approach Bayleigh at this point. I feel like that is how Tyler succeeds here. I think that both Bayleigh and Tyler would benefit from kind of coming together, and especially considering the fact that they both have powers. And like I said, Bayleigh I think is the most receptive to Tyler on that side. Even her alliance, like they are with her, but Fessy, Haleigh, and Rockstar are very much a trio, and Bayleigh is kind of on the outside of that. So I like what Bayleigh's doing, and I want to see her step up a little bit. And I feel like Tyler is the way to do it, and I think that Tyler would bite on anybody that's not Kaitlyn at this point. I think he would be like, I'm dropping Kaitlyn, I'm taking Bayleigh. She is a much better alternative.
Oh, absolutely.
And we'll see. I don't think that's going to happen, but I do see that there is a small opening for it.
Well, and it also helps that Bayleigh has been, creating a relationship with Kaycee as well, and Kaycee, like Tyler and Kaycee are thing. Like he needs that to become more of his thing. He needs Kaitlyn to get taken out and have that problem wrapped up and taken care of, so that he can, like you said, Bayleigh really is on the bottom or outside of that, like former Faute, whatever the hell they are now, alliance. So that is a piece that he can pick up, and she, like, because she has really, she talks to the like level 6 girls, like she's kind of, now that Swaggy's gone and she's actually out and playing, like she's in a lot of these conversations, she's getting information from Sam. Like that's someone that he needs to pick up. But I mean, we don't even know how much she's on to him and what she feels about him. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes in the next little bit, because she's definitely seems receptive to him, and that she's, that she sort of trusts him, but I don't fully. You have to think that she's kind of aware of where his position is in the house. Like, I don't think that she's completely misted by him, but
yeah. So Scottie is then going to spend some more time talking to the rest of the Faute people, minus Kaitlyn, of course, about Tyler and how he wants Tyler out. And they're going to be like, cool. Yeah.
Perfect.
Because again, they don't trust him. They think he's sketchy. But if he is targeting Tyler, that's wonderful for them. Yeah.
No one wants to really be the person that does this, because it puts a huge target on their back afterwards. So if Scottie is the one that's kind of like leading this charge here, then that's great for him. Like, obviously it's not going to happen right away, because, if Scottie's not going to be HOH next week, but if somebody else is bringing that to them, that's perfect. They want that to happen.
Yes. So anything else that you think we should bring up before we wrap this up?
What is this thing about Kaitlyn's talking about JC telling her that he has a power app? Like, at this point, I can't understand if like she's making things up, or if she is being told things and she's like twisting the story and then she starts to believe it. And like,
my guess is she had a dream.
She did. Well, that's what I was wondering too. It was like, at this point, it was a vision. Grandpa Lou showed up. I don't know. But when she was telling this story, or not story, I guess not so much a story. Well, it could be a story, to Fessy and Scottie late last night, that she said, she's like, I don't know, I was half asleep when it was happening. Like, so it's like, or you were fully asleep and you made this up. Like, but she was like so detailed about it. It's just, I don't know. Well, she's a gift. Like, she's insanity, but she throws so much randomness into this game that, really does make it interesting. It's like having a twist that doesn't, it's not producer driven. It's just a random person that gets thrown in and is just throwing all this stuff out.
Yes, it's I just don't understand this person.
You're about to find out, Taran. Bulk up.
Yeah. Yeah, people are like, should we talk about the bros? The bros aren't doing much. Like I said,
They're
Winston's just like asking his alliance what's going on, and they're like, nah, I don't know. And Brett's just kind of like hanging out, being Brett. I mean, Brett talked about Kaitlyn. They had a long conversation about how like weird Kaitlyn is. But I didn't feel like we needed to talk about it because we talked about how weird Kaitlyn is. But Brett did talk about like, like day 2, like she was saying some things that I don't want to be on television.
Why can't we have first week feeds? Like, I want to know. I want that on television.
Oh yes, the veto speech. That's a good point. Apparently, in Brett's veto speech, for which they haven't shown any of the veto speeches yet. Yeah. So I hope they do show this. He apparently did like the thing. If you've ever watched the show Psych, where like that's what Scottie said. He said like he did the thing that the guy from Psych does, where he was like, oh, I'm getting a hit. He was like totally mocking Kaitlyn and her hit. She calls them hits as well. But the guy from Psych is a fake psychic. Spoiler alert. So he was mocking her in the veto, which I really look forward to seeing.
Now, is Psych a CBS show? Like, are they going to allow this?
I don't think it was that. I don't think it was like actually referenced. Yeah. So that happened.
The best jokes are when you explain them. So maybe he did that.
We'll see if this actually is like a really funny like way of making fun of Kaitlyn during the veto ceremony, then maybe I will be echoing Scottie's sentiment. He's so charismatic. Yeah. All right, that's all we've got for you today. There's still a lot that's I think gonna happen. We've got Tyler, I imagine, going to find out somewhat soon that he's been outed. We've got Bayleigh with the information that the power does not do what Kaitlyn says it does. We've got Sam needing to convince people that the power expires this week. We've got a lot of different, a lot of things are up in the air in terms of who's going to be targeted next week. If a Faute person wins, if a level 6 person wins, even, I think they could end up going after Scottie instead of the rest of them because of what Scottie's been talking about. So lots of stuff to keep on track of this week. Make sure you tune in tonight for the LFC Roundtable podcast. As soon as this podcast ends, this update, I'm going to create the new form for voting. So you can vote for the stock watch prices. You can rate each person's game this week, what you think that they are, or how you think they're doing out of 10. And then that will be calculated into the stock price for that player. So make sure you check that out. You can find it. I'm going to tweet it out at Armstrong Taran on Twitter. Where can people find you, Jenny?
I'm on Twitter at Jenny Autumn, and I'm not that interesting on Twitter, but you can follow me. Sometimes I tweet about Big Brother, sometimes I just tweet nonsense.
There you go. Yes, Witless points out there was also a Hamlet rap.
Oh my gosh, the dance
yes.
thing. It was like a weird interpretive dance thing, and it turned into a rap. I was just fascinated by JC and Rockstar JC was doing a good job of sleeping during that. Like, I don't even understand how you sleep during this, but
it would haunt my dreams. That's
you're gonna have Hamlet dreams.
Yeah. So make sure you tune in tonight, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, for the round table. Tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern, I will be back to update you again on everything going on the feeds. And then tomorrow night, we've got a recap. And Thursday night, after the eviction, we will have another recap, of course. I just released my Taran show episode with Maddie from Big Brother Canada 6. It's the 50th Taran show episode, so make sure you check out my conversation with Maddie. She is a delight. Just check me out on Twitch, all the good stuff. Thank you everyone for joining me. I will see you next time.